Hey, welcome to Mando and Friends, presented by Verizon. Today I am with one of my faves, super amazingly beautiful and talented Noemi Gonzalez. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. You're so kind. So good to be here.
I mean it, and it's a pleasure to finally have you here. We've been chatting for a while, and
we've been friends, Mando, for almost like 10 years on social media.
Yeah,
so it's really nice to be here with you.
Isn't it crazy how you follow people and you kind of feel like you've known them for a while?
I know you. We're homies.
That's great. Yeah, and even when I think that's one of the positives about, because there's negatives and positives to social media is sometimes you don't get to talk to friends for a while, right, but you know what they're up to,
exactly,
and vice versa. And when you finally connect, it's time hasn't really affected us.
Yeah, thanks to the blessings of social technology.
Yeah,
technology, for sure. And then socials.
Okay, so I want to start from the very, very top.
Okay.
You are an amazingly talented artist, as I mentioned a few minutes ago.
Thank you.
Where did that initially come from for you to say, hey, I'm going to be an actress?
Well, being an actress, it came later. So the story is essentially that, unfortunately, my brother passed away at a very young age, and that was my first experience with death, and I just had so many emotions about it.
Yeah.
So I channeled that to music, and I was part of the school's choir, and I was doing all the solos, and I just thought if you're going to be a singer, you have to be one at 18 or you're not going to make it. There was just something in me from old school Hollywood mentality thinking. I don't live in LA, I don't live in New York. But my teacher, Michael Bukraba, has been incredible to me those 10 years. He was my teacher from elementary to high school.
Wow.
Segovia was in the middle, but it was really cool to grow up with him, and he was having us sing 2-part harmonies when we were in 4th grade in different languages. So I feel like my brain and my spirit really hung on to the arts to kind of channel all of that. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a music teacher. I'm gonna follow Mr. Beek for what he's done for me. So I go to UC Santa Barbara, and I think I'm a music major. And God bless the orientation counselor woman who was like, I got you. You're gonna do, because I told her I'm comfortable in the arts, but I don't know if I'm gonna be a music teacher.
Yeah.
So then she said, I got you. You're gonna do intro to acting. You're gonna do a music class. You're gonna do 2 requirements, and you're gonna be set. You're gonna have a great intro to college. And I'm like, oh, great. And in that intro to acting, was where I had Jason Narvi, one of the series regulars of Power Rangers. Not a Power Ranger, but he was in the whole series. Taught me. I met my friends Victoria, Lorelli, and Lorelli at the end of the year was the one that said, please audition with me for this program. There's a BFA program at UC Santa Barbara, and I had already seen some productions, and I was like, oh wow, no, those are the MVPs.
Yeah.
You know how USC has football players and they treat them like gods because they're about to be pro? That's how I was with actors at my school. I was like, no, they're all in black and they wear yoga. They take yoga mats everywhere. No, I can't do that. They're so good. And I got in, and
wow.
Then 3 years later, I always just knew, I was like, okay, acting found me, through my brother, through Lorelli, and through UC Santa Barbara, and just staying open, and yeah.
Prior to auditioning for UC Santa Barbara, or in that program,
yes.
How long were you acting then?
I only did intro to acting.
Really?
And then I was then it was winter quarter, then spring quarter, and then spring was when we had audition. And I auditioned this pretty intense thing, and it was pretty cool. I felt really confident about it. And they're like, do this as if you are boxing. And I was like, okay. And then I did. I changed it completely like I was boxing and doing the monologue. And they're like, okay. And I do this like you were at a survivors convention. I was like, okay. I was like, my so-and-so. I just was able to change it. And then they finally were like, what got you interested in acting, or what? And I'd say my dad heavily had me watching a lot of great movies. I'm a huge Robin Williams fan, huge Jim Carrey fan, a lot of talented people through the screen growing up, and we saw Good Will Hunting together. And
wow.
That movie was a big reason why I became an actor, because my dad was watching it with me, and it's such a beautiful freaking story. So then he pauses it, and he's like, you see them? You see what they're doing right there? I'm like, what? And he's like, they started to go off the script, the story, and they're just connecting. Just look at them laugh, they're having such a great, and look at and then they go back in the scene.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa. And from that moment on, I was like looking at it as a craft, and just how cool it is to like be on your craft so well that you are with someone else that's on their craft so well that you can just free flow and act and tell a beautiful story. I was like, that was a big reason why I just kept watching movies.
So when you went into acting, how were your parents, feeling, reacting? What were they telling you? I mean, they must have been ecstatic if your pops was a big, movie goer and watcher.
Well, love my dad, but he is in prison. So he has been out of the picture for quite some time. And it's awesome because I'm sure he's seen me flourish on screen.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
It's awesome because I saw him before as Suzette, and it was just a really interesting experience to have that connection with him. But my mom was funny because my mom's always been interested in like entertainers and entertainment gossip and singers, and she's the one that introduced me to Selena, Princess Diana, Alicia Villarreal de Límite, just a lot of powerful
¿Acaso
women.
eres tú? O tú, o tú.
¿Acaso eres tú? O tú, o tú. Yeah! my favorite is Yo sin tu amor me volvería loca.
Hey.
So good. But yeah, so she had me in that, and I was always singing, so she showed up. She would show up when I did solos and whatnot. But when I went to UC Santa Barbara, this research institute, and at the time my major was called dramatic art because they shifted the whole department into theater and dance. And so when she'd be around me and they'd be like, oh, you, what are you studying? I'd be like, dramatic art. And finally she was just like, why can't you say doctor? Why can't you say lawyer? And I was like, oh, my bad. And then, not my bad, but I was just like, I don't know what to tell you, Mom. Like, I'm gonna live my life, I'm gonna do my thing. I'm like, sorry, not sorry kind of vibe.
How old are you at this time?
I was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, first year of college. Second year maybe.
I let my parents down for a few years. They so I went to this medical program.
Oh wow.
From 14 to 18 years old. I went to this USC medical program for 4 years. Every Saturday I would be bused to USC. And I told my parents I was going to be a pediatrician, and they were like, oh, my son va a ser doctor. Something happened in college. I was walking through campus, and I saw this speaker outside of the campus radio station, and I'm just like, what is that? Where is that coming from?
It finds you. Your path finds you sometimes.
I gave myself a little tour of the radio station. Where Is the Love by the Black Eyed Peas was playing, which is crazy because Where is the love? We're gonna sing all
I know,
show.
sorry
Guys, it's gonna become a karaoke show.
Like the love.
So it was kind of crazy because on this show Mando Friends in season 1 we had Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas.
Right, so full circle.
It was super full circle, and I sang "Where Is the Love" with him on the show. We were just vibing out. It was crazy, and it's one of those things that that the beautiful things of life, where you get these full circle moments, and it was that song that caught my eye, and everything pretty much like happens from that moment, and it was nuts. So that was it. That's all I had to experience for me to be like,
I'm in.
This is what I want to do. Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing. It's God. If you believe, to me,
yes.
that's spirit.
I do believe in. Yes.
That's universe. That's art. That's what we do. Is so it's sensuality and spirituality, and like people don't get that. And like if you're open and like not only hearing it, but if you're doing something about it. It's really fulfilling. Look at you. Look at what you're doing. And like, I knew Selena before my brother passed, and then all of a sudden I'm playing her sister, someone else who's lost a sibling.
Yes.
And and her whole family. Like I've always known everything about her family because I was raised Jehovah's Witness just like they were. So number one, where they're Tejano, I'm Chicana. Where they're I'm first generation, and they've definitely been here a couple generations, but the Jehovah's Witness, and then the death, and then my brother passed, and the movie came out. So like I latched on and grieved with the family in a way that they probably have no idea that I did. So to then suddenly give back and be this character for them, it's just like, how can I not believe like this is what I'm supposed to do? This is wild. This is amazing. So I hear you. It's a trip, isn't it?
It is. did you share this with the Quintanillas?
I did. The first time I met Suzette, I shared it with her, and it was awesome. And I gave her a little bit of more detail. She was like, so you know, because I knew the Jehovah's Witness upbringing. I knew the music. I knew the language barrier or like generation difference. And I knew it all before the movie. I remember my mom handing me the Amor Prohibido album. I remember her telling me what happened and me being like, I don't understand, but not her. Just not her. And then, so I feel like in a lot of ways, Suzette and I are really close because we have some kind of mutual understanding in that regard, in many regards. So it's really, really beautiful. Yeah.
So you've now have had these like breakout roles. You know, you had East Los High, the tax collector. Yeah. And, you know, recently the Netflix hit show Selena series, where, yes, you played Suzette Quintanilla, yes. La hermana, the sister of the late Selena. And great Selena. I mean, I can't even imagine the emotions, like, while shooting some of these scenes.
It was emotional. It was emotional, for sure. It was intense. It was honestly intense from the jump because I was letting myself be her sister, but then also knowing the actor Eagle Eye in me knew the end. So all these beautiful moments were just bittersweet constantly, the whole time. And so it just always made me think, like, what was it like for them who had no clue and had such a shock to their life? Yeah. All of them, the band. All of them, the family, the tech corpus, like there's just no idea. But then to be recreating it and trying to believe that like I have no idea what's going to happen next, but then like wanting to milk all the beautiful moments I had with Christian dressed as Selena. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was a big deal to make sure that I kept my spirit up, make sure that I had a big support system. I also had the pressure because I'm playing an executive producer on the show. She is still alive to watch this. And I have so much respect and honor for the family and for the Quintanilla family, for the story, for Selena's legacy. So I had a lot of pressure. I also played the drums, which were like one of the only visible things you could see playing or not playing. And it was hard. The drums are not easy. So I definitely had to stay strong.
And how did you train and practice, like to play the drums on set? Sure.
The production gave us lessons, and so with Antonio Pontarelli, the music director, and with Kiko Bernesian, my drum instructor, we would do Mondays and Fridays for an hour, 3 weeks leading up to it, with the 50 listed songs that I could have to play. So I was like, 3 weeks to like be on camera for the first time. Luckily, we had a delay, so then that delay. Excuse me. You're good. In that delay, I rehearsed every day for 30 minutes at minimum, but I would do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, sometimes 30 minutes before rehearsal, sometimes 30 minutes after rehearsal. Wow. Like I was like dedicated. And even on set and stuff, people would see me, with my drum kit or AirPods in and metronome going. Wow. I was really serious about it, and I'm really happy that I had that introduction because it was a beautiful life lesson, a beautiful experience to be connected to the drums, to the heartbeat, to be connected to Selena's music like that. Yeah. Never fathomed. Like I'm over here freaking doing like carcacha moves and stuff as a little girl, but then to now be like da 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 as like beady beady bum bum, I'm like, what? Who am I?
That's great. And I know that you initially, like growing up, you thought you were going to become a music teacher. Right. So to go from, I'm going to, I think I'm going to be a music teacher, to playing the drums on this like hit series, I'm sure it was like kind of full circle for you too.
Oh yeah. This brought me back to the beginning. It brought me back to my music beginning, 1,000%. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful because I'm like, here I am really getting swept up and giving my all to the craft of acting, and then not registering that the first thing that I poured myself into was singing. Even if it was a solo in a choir or something, it was music related. And then to have like the biggest connection I have with an artist be Selena since I was 7, 6, 8, you know, and then now I'm drumming to her music and watching her surreally in front of me, and I'm giving to that vibe. I'm giving to that energy to the audience. I'm contributing to Selena's freaking star. Like, that's amazing. Like, I was just like, I felt so blessed all the time. As much as I had to be strong, I was also like, pinch me.
Yeah. Are you like an energy
based person? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a big energy based person.
Man.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you feel things in a different level.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you an empath too?
I am definitely an empath.
Let's get into therapy.
Yeah, let's do this. With Mando and Friends, we can soothe you.
It low key becomes a therapy session sometimes.
It does.
Here.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I mean, we're carving into each other, getting to know each other, right? So you guys get to see a little bit of the empath in me, and I love to give that energy too. I get exhausted after interviews or photo shoots. I get exhausted after a day of set because I gave all day.
Yes.
You know, I'm not chopping wood, which is an honorable job to do.
Right.
But people don't register like to pretend to be someone else all day and carry that. And then you're also carrying it when you're not clocked in 9 to 5. I'm sure you're carrying your work stress and deadlines that you have coming up this week, even when you're not here 9 to 5.
I'm like, Noemi's coming. Oh my gosh. Breathe. Where's my inhaler?
I know.
No, you're right. I mean, I'm very empathetic, and energy is everything to me. Mm-hmm. You know, when it comes to just squeezing. I go to a therapist. I see a therapist every week.
Yeah, me too.
And I which I think is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. I appreciate you sharing that, especially as a man as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? I think it's important to share that because, as a Latino male.
Especially, I was going to say.
And, we need to remove that stigma, exactly. And so I tell my therapist that I squeeze every bit of energy throughout the day, like that I have, right? Mm-hmm. And when I leave here, when I'm driving or I sometimes, like, when you're out of energy, is sometimes your emotions just kind of like take a whole different spin, you know?
Right.
So, we'll have an interview or we'll have a shoot, we'll have, and it's sometimes it's like 15, 17 hour days for me. And again, like I'm giving my all,
right?
And sometimes it is very, draining. And like you said, it's not like, I have, bags of concrete on my head and like doing all that, which again is an honorable job and it's tough, but it's also a tough gig to like mentally and physically to do what we do.
Exactly. It really is. And it's a lot of personal stuff that we're doing to give what we do. We don't register that some of the jobs are teaching us things out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We don't register that some of the roles are changing us because I needed this change in my life or something. And that could be very demanding because it's associated and so close to the heart, the person, our personal experience while doing the job. And then you don't know what else you're going on. And there's a pandemic. I don't know if you heard, but add that stress on top of everything.
Add that stress, add the pressures of society.
Yeah, add the
stresses of life.
The man.
Yeah, and we have a party.
Yeah, when we still make friends.
Speaking of this very emotional moment on set that transcribed through the camera for every viewer was this scene with the No Me Queda Más moment, as they call it, with Suzette and Ricky. That is my favorite moment in the entire series.
Wow.
It gave me goosebumps. It's beautiful. How was that for you shooting that?
It was emotional. It didn't, just fans know, it did not happen exactly verbatim as you saw. It was a symbolic, I think, expression of what was happening or what was a dynamic in the band. So I think the production had a hard time trying to nail this heartfelt experience that created such an iconic, beautiful song with respecting everyone in the family and in the experience. So there's that. So it was wonderful that of trying to find the right balance, we came up with this beautiful scene that had no words, just Selena singing No Me Queda Más.
Okay, so for those that don't know, you might break it. Spoiler alert, okay? If you haven't watched this, spoiler alert. But go ahead, talk about this scene. Describe it for those.
Okay, so the scene is AB is telling Selena he's prepping his sister Selena to sing the song like much producers do. Like, you need to be in this vibe, you need to have this energy, like get into this moment. So he tells her like, okay, so this song is about someone that Ricky wrote. It's freaking beautiful, Selena, but we won't say who it is, just kill it, like you do a good job. And so of course she starts singing, and then Suzette enters and she just grabs her bag, and I just grab my bag, and then I look up because Selena is just singing so emotionally and beautifully and I'm like, wow, and I'm just, these words are beautiful, and so I turn to Ricky, unbeknownst to me, anything going on in his inner world, and I just put my hand on his shoulder and say like, what a beautiful song, who knew you had it in you? As if like he has all this love in here for you, you know, like it's completely the opposite. And we did different takes where I registered like.
You just took me back, by the way. What a beautiful song. I'm in the scene right now.
Mando's in the scene with me, guys. Mando's in the scene.
I'm Ricky right now.
We've been there before, though, right? All of us have been there.
Yep,
So
yep.
estaba fuerte, ¿verdad? Like, yeah. So it was beautiful to lean in and say that and have different takes. We had takes where I'm really happy with what they went with. The directors, the EP, Hiro Kamata, our editors did wonderfully choosing that one. But there were some other ones that were really powerful too, where Suzette registered like, this is about us or me, or this, you know, behind the scenes story or dynamic, and then she just bolts. So I held that and I walked all the way around like your offices until I got to Video Village, and then watched the rest of it, because you see that part of me registering it was that Selena Christian was registering that it was about me, because she was watching Ricky's reaction to me being in the room. And not only am I in the room, but I'm in the room about a song that is just the most powerful, heartbreaking song. And I've already gotten married. And that was what he had written when I was in the process of getting married to Billy Arriaga, who they're still married together 27 years or something.
Wow,
they just celebrated their anniversary recently. So it was really beautiful. It was really beautiful and powerful to have that big of a connection. That song has always been one of my top Selena songs. There's always top three, and that one's usually number one. And I have a certain vibe that takes me back to the 90s, that takes me back to this pure love and like just wanting to give it. And to know that it was inspired by this story is just such an honor. It's such a beautiful, heart-filled honor.
No, man, you did such a, I mean, everyone in that scene and just in the series, you guys did such a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. But yeah, that scene was definitely very powerful. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I mean, it's a quick YouTube search too.
Yeah, no, it's all
right
over
there.
Everywhere. Yeah, it had a lot of buzz.
Yeah. So you get this you know, Selena series gig. Mm-hmm. What are you thinking?
Abraham knows me. Suzette knows me. I was floored. I was just like, what? Like, huh? But I'll tell you, like, there was a lot of buzz before I had it in my hands. Like, everyone was going in for it, and I was like, my audition will come. The notice will come. And then it came, and when I saw Selena's series for Netflix, I just looked at it in a way that I knew I was going to be a part of it. I didn't know how. God's truth. I just knew I was going to be a part of it. And then went in for Selena, then went in for Suzette, then callbacks, interviews, and they called me. I didn't know when they were like, the family approved you. I didn't know that they had final approval.
Wow.
I thought I was still waiting for Netflix's approval.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I just made it to the next round. I'm gonna eat some cake. But before that, I was in my bed, and I just popped up on the phone with my reps, and they were telling me more things, and I was just that was my thought process, like, Abraham Quintanilla, Suzette Quintanilla, AB maybe?
Yeah.
What? Like, these people that have been such a family to me, a Latino iconic family to me.
Yeah.
And I'm on their radar. Like, what the heck? And then, wait a second, I'm gonna be her. Hold on. Like, it was just complete disbelief. And then later, when I was having said cake, my manager called me with more details, and I was just like, wait a second, hold on. And they like kept picture captured of me, like, beside myself.
Were they on set?
They weren't, unfortunately. They weren't due to COVID, due to, wanting...
Oh, because you guys were shooting during COVID. That's crazy.
We did, which was much harder. We were supposed to film 7 months. We filmed, I think, 4, and then we were evacuated from Mexico because we shot in beautiful Rosarito de Baja Studios. Mucho amor de todo mi equipo de Tijuana, de DF.
Hey.
Les adoro. Les quiero mucho. So we filmed there. We were evacuated, and then we were quiet for 5 months. Like, I didn't know if we were going to come back. I didn't know if we were going to finish.
Wow.
We only had like 3 months to finish. And then when we went back, it was a whole new world with masks, with set life. I had my Suzette squad, who was like, everyone had their squad because no one else could touch us to prevent, the disease from spreading. So it was wild to be anchored through a global historic pandemic, and 300 people, including the construction workers who set up the set that we never see, we were all going through the experience while working on Selena the series. So it was amazing, and that's a lot of the reason why we poured so much into it, because we were away from home, away from our loved ones during a pandemic, and then just hope, and then all the pressure on top of it, just trying to do great. So we gave a lot. So it means a lot when you say like it was good, or like you appreciated what we've done, because everyone from the drivers, David, te amo. My driver is my best friend.
It's gonna become a shout out show.
Yeah,
now.
shout out. Pew, 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 pew. It's because you did radio, man. I can't help it.
Yeah. Yo, quick shout out to.
So yeah, we filmed that. We filmed like that.
You should have just shown up with a list. I would have done all the shout outs in the intro.
Footnote.
We got Noemi in here. But real quick, shout out to so-and-so and so-and-so. Yes.
I'm bringing you back, huh?
Yes.
You can hear the music in the back, the beat.
It's all coming back to me. I want to hit like.
Those stars are coming back. It's all coming. No, just kidding.
I want to hit music right now, and this song right here goes out to. No, I think it's beautiful. What you've done on set, and just it now makes sense that it's a lot of emotional moments within that series alone. But I wasn't aware that you guys were shooting during COVID.
Yeah.
And obviously during quarantine, I'm sure quarantine passed and then you guys started shooting, but there was still a lot of it's the pandemic has been no joke. Especially 2020, that's when you guys shot, right?
Mm-hmm. 2019 to start.
It was tough, like mentally and physically.
On everybody, all of us all over,
Now, this next section of the program is sponsored by Verizon. Verizon has partnered up with Oi Health to offer discounts and savings on telehealth services en tu idioma for customers and their families. And as you guys know, health, and not just physical health, but mental health too, is very important. So for this next question, I want to talk to you a little bit about mental health in nuestra comunidad. Noemi, what do you do to take care of your mental health?
Well, like we mentioned, I go to therapy once a week, so I definitely enjoy that. I journal, and I do make sure to spend a lot of time in nature. Like I just went to a hike. While I was in Denver, I did a walk by the creek and then a nature walk around the lake. That was actually really spiritual. There was a lot of native history there. So I make sure to connect. I sometimes go outside my balcony and I'll make sure not to be on my phone, and I'll look at the sky, I'll look at the stars, I'll look at the moon, I'll talk to the moon, I'll talk to the ocean. Like I definitely gravitate towards la naturaleza, to natural beauty. But definitely have to check in a lot. Check in with myself, make sure hydration, eat, sleep. Those are the first 3. And then after that. When
did you realize that mental health is something important?
I realized mental health is important, since being a kid and experiencing, obviously, the death of my brother, number one. Wow. I think a lot of Latinos having such a big families, I think a lot of us tend to have a lot of terrible, tragic things that can happen that we don't register how much it has an effect on you as the individual, but then the mom or the dad or the family, the grandma, whatever the case may be. So I think that was the first time. I think my mom had asked me. I went through some other traumatic things. Definitely have had a crazy, crazy life. It's probably why you can feel a lot of the emotions and the empath energy. So it's beautiful to get to give that and serve that in that way, because I have all that. So that was probably the first time. But honestly, It was especially strong in my adulthood after doing The Young and the Restless. It was just a lot of work. They're the hardest working production team in LA because they do 4 episodes in 5 days. Regular primetime does 1 episode in 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I signed on, I was doing 6 episodes in 4 days because we were in the holiday area where we needed to work our butts off so that we can have 2 weeks off for the holidays.
Yeah.
So the fans could keep having their Monday through Friday shows that were Christmas or Thanksgiving related. So it was really intense. A lot of haters on social media during that time. A lot of racism during that time.
Really?
Due to the Trump administration and also Trump and just the political climate getting heated with Latinos and me being a Latina actress, playing a very strong Latina role. I just really had a lot of heat sent my way, and I needed to recluse and be a hermit and speak to a therapist and get some help on how I can handle the realities of what it's like to be an actress in 2020, a Latina actress in 2020.
I'm speechless. I can't even think about how that would that would be a thing in 2020, right? And just last year. And this is what I love about this show is that we get an insight into your world and others' worlds that I would never we had an athlete here. Shout out to Jen. Shout out to Jen Munoz. What up, Jen? And she came on the show. She's an athlete. She plays soccer, and she was talking about how she would get catcalled on. She would hear catcalls on the pitch, and certain things like that, or that after a game she would go on social media to see if she did well, or not. Yeah. And that would take a toll on her mental health too. So these things I would never think that.
Oh yeah.
So you saying that you had to deal with racism, as a Latina actress.
Racism as a Latina actress, body shaming as a Latina actress, bullying on social media as a Latina actress. So I had to, when I would pick up my phone, even for emails now, but for when I pick up my phone for Instagram or socials, I would literally have to envision like a force field to be like, no matter what I get here, I am a little more detached, I am removed, and this is not going to affect my day. I'm not going to be bummed, I'm not going to be triggered, I'm not going to be unhappy, I'm not going to be angry. Even happy, I won't be too happy either because I don't want things to get to my head. So I literally, before going into the comment section, would just have this kind of removal. I would even move my phone a little farther so it's like it can't penetrate me.
Wow.
So it's like it's sad that I had to even do that, whereas people just like flip on and then they're just like, you suck, you da-da-da-da-da. They're like spending all that energy the opposite direction. Yeah. It's wild.
I'll never understand that. Yeah. I will never ever understand trolls.
Right.
And how, I'm sure they have their own issues and they try to, that's their funnel, I guess, is their form of release. But yeah, I never understand that. So how are you going about it now? Has that kind of fizzled out?
It has fizzled out for the most part, but I still, because of the Selena experience being so Latino focused and being on a platform that gives bicultural representation across the world to a Tejana, I was like, I am not going to let anything prior to this really challenging time affect the beauty and the radiance that is being a Latina actress and representing for my raza and being happy that I am doing that. Because if I just focus on the shadow, that was the challenge. Like, why am I not enjoying all the beauty that comes with it? Like, why am I not enjoying connecting with people from Brazil or anywhere, or someone from South Africa who is like, you're Latina and I see it, I feel it, or someone from Japan who's like, I rock with it, I get it. And yeah, I just had to make sure that I'm always checking in with myself. I'm really good about checking in with myself weekly, Sundays to prep my week, to compartmentalize the week. That was that kind of week. Next week is this kind of week. What do I need? What kind of focus do I need? And then a month, so I can just put them behind me and move forward. And so it's for the most part fizzled out, and I'm not naive. And who was I to think that I'd be in Hollywood unscathed by any of the things that are Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It is a beast.
So this past Sunday, you were like, oh, man, I'm going to go hang out with Mando. Got to mentally prepare for that one. During that time of, you know, the bullying and all that going on, did you ever think of quitting?
Yeah, I had to consider it for my mental health. Because it got so bad that it was affecting how I would pick up a paper and choose how I was going to represent this role to the masses. You know, and if I picked up a role that was offered to me but questionable because of how they're offering it to me, I would twist it and give it humanity so that you could see that it's not a stereotype, you know? So I had to ask myself if I need the strength or something or a break to just take a beat and keep going. So a big part of me was like, there's no way I'm not going. I just feel like there's some forces that know I'm here to do good, and I will continue to be a warrior. So that's that.
During those moments of man, like should I quit? Should I let this go? Like I'm over this or this, you know, this energy, these feelings, this treatment, you know. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Were you able? How were you able to move on? And I'm only asking you this because, you know, as a creative, I've had moments where I'm like, I think I'm done.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
You know,
I've had a limit. We all have a limit.
How have you been able to move past that?
God. Number one, conversing with God, universe, spirit. Staying open, seeing what God is trying to do for me in this lesson and not see it as something that's taking it so personally, or not seeing the long run of what this is for. So that's that. Definitely God, number one, Jehovah. And then two, I would do certain things to force myself to get out, which would be, number one, therapy was much needed. And then two, I think a big thing was I was supposed to go to Coachella Fest, and I was like, I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to like go to this concert and have a good time and set up the camp, and that's usually what I do, and I'm not going to do it. So instead, I sold those tickets to go to Puerto Vallarta, which is number one, away from LA, giving me a break to be like, there's other worlds besides the world that has consumed me. Then when I was there, I was like, wow, I'm really messed up because I'm like, haven't taken a second to enjoy this. Wow, that's a real good check-in. And then my boyfriend at the time, we went to Los Arcos, which was paddleboarding 3 miles, 20 minutes to these natural arcs that were caves, boulders that were outside of the coast of Puerto Vallarta. They had this really big cave that you could surf into with the paddleboard.
Wow.
Or a cave that you can go in and then come back out. And so when I did that, that forced me out of my head and into my body. The adrenaline rush, the excitement, it was like a shock to my system that made me really register that I need to shock my system every once in a while with good stuff, not be generally junkie necessarily, but like with what a beautiful memory I have, what a beautiful experience I have, because I forced myself to be like, all right, you're in a funk, vamos, let's switch up the vibe, ánimo, guerrera. Like, so I definitely feel God, and then God's country, God's beauty. With
You're gonna knock down my set, Suzette.
I told you I speak with my hands.
Suzette, I'm calling Suzette because we're not playing the drums. We're not playing the drums here, okay? She's over here.
Ding, ding. Sorry, guys.
But I just going back to that, I think it's a beautiful thing, you know, the ups and the downs, right? Like you can't appreciate the ups if you can't kind of
process the downs.
And you know, I mean, for whatever it's worth, like I applaud you for being able to, you know, just digging deep within you and you know, not going to turn up at Coachella and going to Puerto Vallarta instead and finding something there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people sometimes, you know, they'll probably go to Coachella and try to forget their
drink
problems and
escape.
And the fact that you were like, no, I don't want to escape. I want to dig deep and figure this out.
Yeah, I had to be alone with my thoughts. I was away from my environment. So it forced me to be like, okay, you're away from home, you're away from the responsibilities for a bit, and you're supposed to be having a good time here, but for some reason you can't, like, why? So it was really good to do that. And I try to do that a lot. Like, I try to go out of town, maybe at least visit my family in the desert, maybe like once a month or maybe once every 2 months, just to have a switch from the LA hustle, just to have a switch from the LA rhythm, you know? So that's always been important to me, to make sure that I have a lot of trips to, like, one, enjoy life, like, pura vida, a pasear, you know? And then two, it is part of the mental health kind of switch up, so that we don't fall into a funk from just clocking in 9 to 5 forever. By the way, I have tried not to cuss. Is that okay? Like, I'd rather not.
You can cuss away.
Okay, cool.
I mean, not. Let's. Yeah, Annie was here. She was cussing. Like, so Fred edits these episodes, and he's like, Annie broke a record, man.
Yeah, that's my girl, Annie. That's my girl. Annie Gonzalez, my prima.
Your prima. She was going in. It was like,
prima's crazy. You know?
The whole episode was like beep 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 beep.
And then I already know. I love it.
Yeah, no. You know, speaking of you know, family, you don't have family in the industry, in the entertainment industry per se, right? Like, I think it's a beautiful thing that you have been able to hustle your way without, like, having fam, you know. And I guess sometimes you have family in a certain industry, and there's sort of like a safety net, right?
Oh yeah.
There's no safety net here. Same for me. I didn't know anyone. That's why my parents were like, you know, no, mijo, you know, do this, you know, take this safe route here.
It'll be easier for your life. Do this,
right, right. And of course, you know, I went the other way, and like, how has that been for you, your family? You know, when you go back, is it any different? Like, with even extended family, I know sometimes it's they see you and they're like, oh, hey, this is Noemi, you know. So how has that been for you?
It's been a journey, because number one, from the jump, when I said I didn't think I was gonna be an actor, right? But when I registered that I never thought that I thought I could be doing theater in Minneapolis or Miami or Boston. I didn't think I was gonna be movie star. Not that I didn't think I deserved it. I just knew that I was going to act because it gave me joy. So I was going to make it happen, and I was gonna live a happy, fulfilled life, surviving off of it. That was the goal. So then for a while, my vow was to be the Asian guy that's in everything. You know, the good guy, he's in every movie, but you don't know his name. I was like, I want to be that guy. Like, he has his privacy. He's getting paid.
Yep.
He's fulfillment, like being on set, and he's just coasting, like, you know, set to set, you know. And then I registered the more that I was doing roles, and they'd be standout or just the fact that raza needs this representation so much, that I was like, I hear you, God. I am not here to be in the wings or in the sidelines. I am here to make some noise, and here I am playing a drummer. So that was that. So I've had a hard time registering what comes with acting is that celebrity or is that fame. So when I would come home, sometimes certain cousins or something, they're like, oh, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity, and I'm like, fam, you're my fam. Where'd you go? Like, come here. Like, you know. My mom's definitely number one. Number one stays the same. Most of my brothers stay the same. So much love there. And but that was the only, like, quote unquote weirdness, was to see some extended family all of a sudden just get super nervous around me or super whatever. And I'm like, soy la misma. I'm like, I'm the same one from Christmas the year before. Or like whatever, you know, the holidays.
That's funny how that works.
Yeah.
I've had, I know it's just weird how that works, and how that how people see you in a different light, even if it is fam, and how many primos come out of nowhere, right? Like, hey, I'm your primo, hey, I'm your prima, and I'm like, what? I didn't know I had so many primos.
Ooh, I had someone riding my coattails real bad, and they also, Yeah, they're actually in the entertainment industry a little bit too, with the pretty iconic person, and I haven't like talked to them about it yet, but it was kind of like, this is making me uncomfortable, you know, and it was unfortunate that came to that, because when I would go home to them in the holidays, they would be like, oh, how's your little indie going? And I'm like, oh, it's not an indie, like it's Paramount Pictures for Paranormal Activity, you know, it's good stuff, like I'm hustling, I'm working. Oh, okay. Next year, oh, how's your little web series going? And I'm like, oh, it's not a web series, it's a digital series on Hulu, one of the first streaming shows, all Latino cast, like it's awesome, like I'm representing, I'm doing the thing, I'm being a pioneer before streaming was a thing. You know, it ain't no thing, cousin, but hey, I'm freaking breaking ground here. And yeah, and then as soon as I booked Y&R, that cousin's calling me, oh my God, you're gonna be a star. Where was this when I was hustling and you didn't like it?
Yeah.
Where's that support? Where's that fam? You know? So it was wild to me that I had that experience with the family member, and I never fathomed that it would be the case, but it's like, you don't register the change of status or celebrity until you register that you have it. Like all of a sudden I have a blue check mark and my comments come up top so people see it. Oh, I don't care about a blue check mark. I don't need to be verified, but I just happen to be. And now that my voice has more power, okay, I live on this plane in time, so I have to use that to its good and not pendejadas or whatever the case may be. So it's just wild what gifts and lessons you get from the transitions.
Do you feel any sort of pressure now, being that, you know, you have a platform, or is it pressure, or is it, I don't know, is it excitement?
It's pressure and pleasure. It's pressure and pleasure because, yeah, I would make sure I'd get these roles and I would humanize them. I would make sure I'd give, like on Y&R, I was giving it to the Latinos and the people of color that watch the show, and it has been not full of people that are representing them and their background. So then, and also specifically Hood, like I made specific choices, like when she was around certain people, she had this eloquence because she's like hustling, but then as soon as she's drinking with them at the dining table or at a party, that's when like the Hood came out. And you'd see, and I'd get responses from fans being like, yes, like, oh my God, I've been needing like an update version of a telenovela that's American, like, oh my God, like, thank you, or whatever. And so there's that kind of pressure, but that was a lot of pleasure to then be crafting, you know, serving in this world, but then also let me make sure that my Latinos feel like they're seen. But then I also have to coast so that no one knows that I'm doing anything. Yeah. So it's really cool, but it's pressure and pleasure for sure. Like, yeah, 1,000%.
Does representation matter?
Yeah, 1,000% representation matter. Of course it matters, 1,000%. Yeah, I might as well get tatted on my chest. No regrets. Representation matters.
No regrets? No, he said.
Representation matters. Yeah. No regrets.
Yeah.
Regrets.
Regrets.
That's what it is. Regrets. No regrets.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I went back home and I was at Panda. What was it, Panda Express? No, it was P.F. Chang's at the river. And this is a place where everyone would go to like high school to like watch a movie, maybe a date, and then a movie, and then whatever. And it was really, it's on the other side of the 10, so it was like more affluent, especially from Desert Hot Springs. And I'm leaving for my sister Liz's birthday, my sister-in-law. And I'm leaving, and out of nowhere, I see this kid and his mom come out. His mom's chasing after a little girl, and the little girl's like, I know you, you're Suzette, da-da-da-da. And she's little to the point where she then later, after pictures and stuff, asked me where Selena was, because she just assumed we were always together.
Oh,
And
man.
I was just like, oh, she's in Atlanta. Like, she lives in a different state, mija. But I had to tell her, like, mija, I grew up here. Like, I went to this restaurant. I had, birthdays here. I had first dates here. Like, I had to, like, say those things to her and her family. And the little girl was just like, wow, like, oh my God, like from there to like Netflix and Selena and Suzette, and like, so those wheels were turning. And then her mom was so sweet to follow her, because her dad was like, if it's her, like, let's not bother her, which was cool. Yeah. But at the same time, and mom was like, what, mija, I gotta trust my daughter because she's fired up about this. So she followed her daughter, like, all right, I'll ride with you, like, I'll go with you.
That's cool.
So then when she had the moment with me, she was just like, girl, you representing for the everything, like, Raza, the desert, like, damn, you do this damn thing. And I was just like, ah. And then the husband was inching closer, starting to take off his mask for the group picture, because now he was like, okay, I can get it. I wanted one, but I didn't want to, you were having a good time with your family. So it was just really, really nice. And to me, I reposted that because that was a plain example of representation matters, because she has me, she has Christian, they have Gabe, they have Annie Gonzalez, Chelsea Rendon, they have all these people that are Latino Hollywood now, and I only had Elizabeth Peña.
Yeah.
I only had J-Lo. Like, I only had Rita Moreno. Like, I only had 3. And even before that, all I had was Princess Jasmine. I mean, God, my love. I mean, Jasmine's Jasmine. But to the fact that I'm a brown girl, Latina, Mexicana, and the only, like, connection I have to the entertainment industry and representation is a Middle Eastern beautiful woman. And I'm honored that I have that connection. But at the same time, there's something up with that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not okay. You know, so I'm really happy to feel like I'm part of the pioneers of this generation, because who knows who's coming after me.
Right. No, people are watching. I mean, young people, you know, to, you know, the young and the old are watching you, and you're definitely a big inspiration and motivator. And honestly, like, this is why we created Mando and Friends, because well, that and you know, to have a shout out session during these shows, and that's where we created this show. But honestly, like, all jokes aside, because of lack of representation, because of lack of just owning our own narrative,
more airtime,
just giving those that deserve a platform, you know, have them have these kind of convos. I mean, there isn't a lot of places where you can just hop on, you know, onto a mic and have these kind of convos.
Exactly. Which is why I'm choosing to share so much. I'm choosing to share so someone can feel this. I'm choosing to share that you're not alone. You're not alone. You know, like, yeah, I just am happy to uplift. That's definitely a big thing on, like, who I am, is making sure that, like, send the elevator back down or extend the table, you know, constantly, because we've been needing this, and we're a lot of beautiful people in this world, you know, and not just Latinos, Latinidad, but also people of color, period, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so giving with some of this personal story, because I'm sure people are like, oh, dang, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, or dang, like, I had this experience, or that, or like, oh, I was debating on going into therapy. Like, you know, if they're going to therapy, like, man, I think it sounds good because everyone's in it. So
we make it cool.
Yeah, you know? Just make it chill. It's whatever.
It's like, cool. You know,
But I appreciate you, and I'm really humbled. I'm really humbled to be seen. I'm really humble to be. I mean, we've been connected for like 10 years, so it's really humbling to have seen both of us in our journey. And to see where we've come, and I'm really proud of you, and I'm really humbled that you have me here.
Thank you.
Because, like, we've known each other forever, and then now it's this, because I'm on the show and we're both doing it. It's like, yeah.
No, and
I was ready to jump. I was like, get here, man. let me give you the hard back pat.
With the closed fist,
you're
like,
my boy, Blue.
Yeah, no, and the feeling's mutual, Noemi. You know, I think it's important for us to have these conversations, not just for us, but, you know, for everyone watching. You know, if you can give yourself any advice, you know, you said we've been following each other for you know, roughly like 10 years, let's say. If you can go back 10, 15 years, what advice would you give your younger self?
I would give my younger self advice to breathe, smile, enjoy it, because everything's happening for you. So stay strong. As strong as you are, you're going to be even stronger, and you're going to reap all the beauty and joy from it. But just keep going, but keep going with joy and not stress. Keep going with appreciation and gratitude, so that you're just not bogged down on all the other things that we have going on. Like, really relish in all of life's beauty, both the light and the shadow.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, "The joy is in the journey."
That's so beautiful.
Because, and I gotta say that quote to myself more often, because I forget, you know, I forget just how beautiful, like, these moments are, like the day-to-day I'm always thinking tomorrow, next week, next month, next year.
Past this deadline, past this project.
And instead of being in the moment and enjoying the moment, you know, the hustle and bustle of the entertainment industry
is real.
And sometimes we don't, get to, as they say, smell the roses as
Right.
much as we should.
We should, yeah. Which makes sense why, like, when people get to a certain point, they're suddenly luxuriating. They suddenly need to have the sunset view. They suddenly need to have a bathtub in their hotel, or like they need to get away. It's not because we're trying. I mean, I'm sure some people have their heart in the wrong place and they want to, demonstrate that kind of big money, whatever kind of vibe. But for the most part, it's to recharge. It's to give back all that you've given, And I feel like a long time, like I was just putting in hours in the shed as opposed to making sure I stepped out of the shed and wiped off the sweat and be like, damn, that felt good. Let me look up into the sky and take a breather and be like, whew, okay, time to go back.
Yeah. What do you see yourself doing more in 2022?
Okay, 2022, I thought it was going to be like long term from now. In 2022, I hope to be acting a lot, different movies, shows, writing. Definitely writing, I think, is more than anything.
And you just shot something.
Yes, I just filmed in Atlanta with Eugenio Derbez, Samara Weaving. Eugenio Derbez played my brother, with
Amazing.
Carmen Salinas playing my mom.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, so a movie's going to come out called The Valet.
That's legendary.
Legendary, dude. Like, what? What? Yeah. So I got to audition for that during pilot season, booked it. I was in Atlanta for the month. Had some beautiful, beautiful experiences there. Great dynamics on set, and I'm really excited for y'all to check out this movie because it does feel. I've heard that it's really good, and I had the locked pictures in. But it's the most LA I felt. It's got Mexicanos, it's got Koreanos, it's got Hollywood. So it feels like LA to me, and it was an honor to represent like that.
What's the name of the film?
The Valet.
The Valet.
Yes.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's essentially the story of a celebrity bumps into a valet service attendant, and paparazzi snap pictures, and they must continue the ruse that they may be an item.
I'm in it.
I hope so.
Where do I buy tickets?
That'll be announced shortly.
I love it. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
In
Thank
advance.
you so much. Yeah, it was really fun to be a part of it and to get to work with Eugenio and Carmen and to just have that experience on set was just wild.
No, the both of them are legends.
Legends.
And Eugenio is man, he deserves all the flowers, man.
He really does deserve all the flowers. He's a beautiful man, spirits inside and out. He was so giving, so sweet, so helpful, so funny. Oh my God, it was so amazing to watch him. It was funny. I was like, Eugenio, ¿sabes que Hollywood, it used to be Hollywoodland? ¿Sabías eso? Sí. And then Amaury comes in, my work husband, and he's like, sí, like, pues no, sí, así estaba la tierra, estaba el nombre Hollywoodland, y luego se cayó because he's dominicano, puertorriqueño. And then Eugenio's this, he's like, lo mismo pasó a Disney. And we were just like dying laughing because Disneylandia. And we were just like, he's quick. He's so quick.
Oh, yeah. Super quick.
Super quick. So like, it was just really wonderful to learn from his pages and Carmen's pages. I always have a bucket next to me and I'm writing down what to do and what to not do on sets for me and carrying it on to the next one.
When you're jumping on these sets, and I don't know if you do like the initial table read or when you first like meet, your cast members. What is that like? Are you nervous? Are you excited?
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm nervous and excited. Yeah, I'm nervous and excited for sure. Because with actors, a lot of people don't know, actors can get let go after the table read. So a lot of actors, or the camera test. We might be in New Zealand, in our character's clothes, doing a camera test for the look, and then they might be like, no, it's not clicking.
Wow.
Let me get you someone else. So not only do we have the nerves of making sure we keep this job, but we also have the nerves of making sure we click with everybody. And then on top of it, just being excited to be considered,
Wow.
So I'm always nervous, excited. I'm also in this hype Kanye mode of creativity where it's like, all right, let's do this. Like, I'll never forget the table read for Tax Collector. You just felt the vibes. You just felt that we were all like dialed in, clicked, and we were already doing the movie while we were just with books in front of us and sending things across the room. And there's also that vibe that's the really fun, exciting part, because nothing is like that again. The table read only happens once.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that you referenced Kanye. We were talking about music earlier.
Yes.
and who our favorite rappers are. You said Eminem.
I said Eminem.
And I'm a big Kanye fan.
And I was like, I'm a big Kanye fan too, actually.
Yeah. You know, what I love about Kanye is that he's fueled by his own person. And, you know, I constantly find myself defending him.
Me too.
It's tough out here to be a Kanye fan sometimes.
It is tough out here. That's how we
No.
connected.
See, this is what Kanye really means, you know? I just...
It is, yeah, exactly, verbatim.
And, you know, Kanye, I became a big fan because as he was coming up, I was initially starting my career, you know, and when he was, you know, everything was rapping about was just like motivating and inspiring and kind of like that hustle and making it big and all of that. And that's something that resonated with me. Still does. Like, I listened to the Graduation album and all,
the Graduation,
you know,
for me. Yeah,
because it just like pumps me up, you know, and it just makes me feel like, I always feel like, even though I'm 15, 16 years in, I always feel like I'm just starting.
Oh, yeah.
Does that happen with you too?
For sure. Yeah, I've been in the game professionally 10 years, but the last 3-4 years, you all have been seeing me work. And this is every single role has been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's like I just started to learn set dynamics. I just started to learn, you know, how I am as an actor with this workload. How am I going to do acting when I'm acting on a soap versus when I'm acting in a commercial versus when I'm acting in a David Ayer film? Like, it's those are different ways to
people don't know that.
No, they don't know that. They just
people just think acting is acting.
They think it's easy because everyone is human. And it's one of the only professions that you have to be another human. So you're like, oh, I do that. I wake up and I breathe every day. And you're like, yeah, but do you memorize lines? Do you do research about where you're from? Do you make sure that that's exuded? Do you connect with the other person in the scene and make sure that you're giving back and forth and not just about you when the camera's on you? Like, all this kind of stuff is really important to make sure that we tell a story.
For sure. What do you think is the biggest misconception of being an actor? And what do you think is the biggest misconception of being Noemi Gonzalez?
Ooh, Mando, estas preguntas.
Hey.
Oye.
I got way more.
I see why you do what you do. Hey!
Be ready. Stay ready.
Now I am. This biggest misconception for actors is I think that we're not human, number one. Number one, that we're not human, I think is the bigger thing, because I think it's the opposite. We're probably like super, super human because we feel so much so that we can give you that at a drop. I did the crying scene of Selena's, I did like 14 takes of that.
Wow.
Like, we have to drink water earlier in the day to prep how much we're going to be freaking crying, you know, and not just that, our heart and our spirit and our mind to be like, okay, this is happening in this world, but like, you didn't lose anybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's also something we have to do. And then there's other actors that I really appreciated. Actually, the recent actor who won an Emmy this weekend, who was like thanking Kate Winslet for being Kate Winslet.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate him for an interview. I research a lot of interviews to hear this from actors, because otherwise it's not, the news outlets, they don't want to talk about these deep things and help and give to the public. They want to sensationalize. So this guy they asked him about his role, where I think he might have played someone with mental instability or a drug addict, and they asked him like how it was during that time. And he was like, oh man, I lost some friends during that time. I was a wreck. I was a lot, and all that was affected by the fact that he was playing this character during this time.
Yeah.
You know, same can be said for music. I'm sure Beyonce felt some type of way doing Lemonade and letting out all those emotions, you know? So I think that's the biggest misconception, is that because we are in front of the camera, that's some kind of barrier, that we're not real. Literally, I'm watching TV and I'm enjoying myself and I see commercials say, real people, not actors, or like not acting. I'm like, damn, that's messed up. I'm not real. I'm also real sensitive. I don't know if y'all noticed. So that's, I think, the biggest misconception is that people think that, and because of that, they get bitter, and they're just like, well, they have money is number one, or status, or beauty, or whatever the case may be, that people just want to attack and break us down. And it's really not nice, because we give so much to the story, to our role, to the industry. So I think that's the biggest misconception, that people just think it's easy and that we're not human. And it's like, you see athletes trying to act. It's not easy.
No, I mean, I know, I for a fact know acting is not easy. You know, there's so much that goes into it. So much that people have no idea.
Right.
No idea.
No.
How much goes into, you know, your craft.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why I have a lot of respect for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate
and of course,
that.
you know, who you are and everything you represent.
Thank you.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about Noemi Gonzalez?
I'd say the biggest misconception about Noemi Gonzalez is that I think I surprise people. I think people be sleeping on me sometimes. I feel that I've garnered some kind of respect, which I really, really love and appreciate. It really means so much to hear mostly girls come up and be like, can you get a picture? Like, my boyfriend knew who you were. Like, he's the one that spotted you from tax collector, or this or that. Or even when I'm at the dojo and I'm freaking doing a kick and a guy's like, yo, dude, like that, hey. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Like, it's just, you can feel respect. Yeah. But a lot of times when people find out that I'm not Catholic, but I wasn't raised Catholic, but Jehovah's Witness, it's like, oh, that's surprising. Or I speak French and Spanish and English. Oh, that's surprising. Or I communicate a little inside. Oh, that's surprising. Oh, yeah, like I've traveled this. It's like I think people assume because of what I look like that I could just be pretty and sit and memorize my lines, as opposed to like, no, I got some stories to create and to share. Or they suddenly see me in a different light when they see me acting in a different way or impersonating something. They're like, oh, I didn't know you had that in you. Or I didn't know you spoke this, or I didn't know like this or that. And so I feel like whenever they say that, I'm always like, you're sleeping on me. Like, I'm not, you're not really seeing me. You're just having an assumption based off of, like, I'm a super tomboy. Like, people probably don't register that just because I can put on red lips and hoops and eyeliner. They're like, oh yeah, she a girly girl. But like, I'm also.
Your hair looks great, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
I like the do.
Thank you. Inspired by the character, for sure.
How about?
Hey, that's a nice coif up there.
Oh, thank you.
I like the curls.
Appreciate that.
Curly is in, you know.
Yeah, I remember, you know, seeing, I don't know, it was like late night. I don't know if I tweeted or reposted a tweet on your stories or something where you said, am I up
late?
So
am I up early to go to work, or am I up late working?
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that the story of our lives?
Story of our lives. Yeah. And it's I think that can be good, but I also think it could be healthier.
Yes.
You know, because sometimes I'll be full of energy and I'll be like, it'll be 3 a.m. instead of giving myself negative energy, being like, pendeja, duérmate, like, why aren't you sleeping? I'll be like, all right, okay, well, so what? All right, I'm going to write a song. Okay, I'm going to write poetry. Or, oh, okay, I have this trip coming up. I'm going to do research right now on it. And by the time I'm done, I'm exhausted and ready to go to bed. So, like, I utilize that energy and I don't judge it based off of, like, normal standards.
That was me last night.
Yeah?
I wrote a whole poetry book.
Really?
No, I'm kidding, no.
Oh,
but
don't mess with me.
but I did stay. It was like 3 a.m. and I was wide awake. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I made sure, I was like, no, I gotta go to bed. I got a lot of stuff in the morning. But it's funny how I think also the way that in what we do, I think, is our brains never really, you know, it's not a clocking in and out type of thing, right? And we work off of like inspiration. We work off of like momentum sometimes too.
Yes.
Because I mean, it could be in the middle of the day, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. I'm
not gonna write this beat. I'm not gonna, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes it's 2, 3 a.m. and I'm like.
Are you a night owl in general?
I think I am. And I say,
¿sabes qué? ¿Por qué? I come alive in the nighttime.
You're invited to the next karaoke party that we have.
Thank you.
Yo.
I made it.
You are definitely in here with us.
Thank you.
My guy Fred here does an incredible Corazón Espinado his air guitar.
Oh man, done.
Money.
Done. Yeah. See, and I got you.
Her air drums.
Yeah, I got your air drums. I do the drums too. I did. Yesterday I was doing La Vie en Rose and trumpet. I was just going for it. I was like, I'm for it. I totally. The last karaoke song I sang was "Killing Me Softly" by Lauryn Hill and the Fugees. Yeah, it was a good time, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, and then you give that to people, and people are like, "Oh man, let's have another drink, man. This is a good time."
Yeah. No, we love to do karaoke, man. It's been a while.
You sleep good that night, huh? Because you let it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. System of the Down. Fred gets down. He goes in.
Yeah, we're going in.
Needs to be good.
For sure. Where do you go for karaoke? He's like, he's like.
No, he makes sure that the acoustics got to be right.
It's true though. Like when I'm in the shower in my garage, I'm Whitney Houston.
I love karaoke. I think that's initially where being in front of people, but like I think I lost my fear of like public speaking or being in front because my pops always said that I could sing as a kid, like canta bien mi hijo Mandito canta bien, and sometimes I'd be like hiding because we had a little party or whatever, and my dad would just start yelling my name, Mandito. And I was like, oh, that's the call to come and sing.
I'm gonna sing.
Mandito.
That's awesome.
No, ma, dile que no.
No estoy inspirado.
No son las 3 de la mañana, ma. Dile que no, mom. No, and I would start like, singing and stuff like that. And initially I think that's like what so it's their fault,
Hey. We have good music, and we love a good time. So, ¿sabes qué? We're singers.
Yeah.
We're
True.
singing, we're air drumming, we're acting.
True.
It's like, why are you mad? You're just going to surround me with all this pura vida in music and in entertainment. You're going to show me Selena, Alicia Villarreal, and Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, having me watch La Bamba over and over again. Like, you think I'm not going to want to be an actor?
Right. Hey, it was written.
It is written. Amen. And God is good.
Now, this next section of the program is sponsored by Verizon 5G. It's 5G built right from the network more people rely on. 5G ultra wideband is available in parts of select cities, and 5G nationwide is available in 2,700 plus cities. Speaking of 5G, I want to talk a little bit about tech because it's obviously helped us immensely during quarantine and the pandemic. What role would you say tech has played for you in the last year and a half during the pandemic?
Sure. Well, 1,000% of what I use the most, technologically speaking, is definitely my phone. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, definitely my phone. Instagram for me, as someone put it really well, it's not just something that I pull up to catch up with my friends. It is something that I have to use as a business, give love to my fans for like being so giving to me, and make sure that I put an effort out there, and also being selective about what I share, when I share. Like I'm choosing to share this here with you guys now,
Thank you.
Mando and Friends, as opposed to like choosing to do this on my Insta stories or something like that, because that goes away. So definitely my phone, definitely calling people, FaceTiming to connect, especially during the pandemic. Like my girl and I, Chelsea Rendon, we would just start calling each other while we were doing, barriendo. We would like cleaning the house and stuff. Like, oh girl, what you got? Oh my God, girl, da 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 da. Oh yeah, like no me digas. And we're just hanging out and we feel like we're together, but we're not in the same room. So I'm really grateful for technology in that way. Especially thankful I was in location in Mexico as well. And during the pandemic to have that, and it's a computer. I don't even call it my computer. I'll be like, I don't even call it a phone.
I say,
oh, my computer's dying. Like, someone give me a charge. Like,
It is.
It's a computer. Yeah, I'm for it. I definitely I'm here for the Apple technology advancements. It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah.
My dad always had like the most up and coming things in the house. It was really cool. We had Netflix when you had to buy or rent the DVD for a bit.
Yes.
Like he had it like way before, and I'm like, Dad, you always have something coming up or like some new change. I loved how progressive he was with technology.
He was an early adapter.
He was an early adapter. My father, Gabriel Gonzalez, mira nomás. So yeah, he was big on that. So I love hearing the new things in tech and stuff.
I love that. So lastly, what is next for Noemi Gonzalez?
What is next for Noemi Gonzalez? Well, I think I'm going to focus on staying on this element and not having any imposter syndrome about all the work I've had and all the work I've done, so that I can be in this element for you guys to feel that I am representing. And so just continue acting, but especially want to end up being a writer, director, producer in the future. So I really want to finally put some things to paper, pen to paper, so I can make that happen. And it is happening because Chelsea and I are developing a TV show. So we already have a TV show in the works that we have a developing deal with right now. And so I already have other...
Congrats.
Thank you so much. So that's number one with my girl Chelsea Rendon. So it's amazing to get to do what I love, to also be seen more as a creative as opposed to just an actress, to be seen as a producer or director as opposed to just an actress. So gonna be in my element. I'm gonna be in my element. I'm gonna keep that ride going while I smell the roses and move on to what's next. But I know that for a while I'm gonna be acting to continue that respect, continue to garner that quality so that I can be trusted to direct and write.
Yeah. Talk to me about imposter syndrome. And for those that don't know, what is imposter syndrome?
Well, for me, imposter syndrome is to be at a certain point and then register or have feelings that you don't deserve it, or you're in disbelief that this is for you. How would you describe imposter syndrome?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
very well said.
Thank you so much.
No.
We're here in therapy with Mando and Friends, and we got you. No, yeah, for sure. Imposter syndrome. So I had feelings of that. I was definitely doing Selena series, definitely feeling like I'm Noemi, and I'll always be Noemi, and I love that about me being real to that point where I always feel like I'm going to be grounded and I can have these conversations. But then there's also the realistic element that, girl, you just learned the drums. Girl, yes, you're acting with Selena in this scene. Girl, yes, you're working with George Lopez in Tax Collector. Like, lean into that, and you deserve to be in the same rooms, and you will continue to be in the same rooms and better, So I definitely had to grapple with making sure that I didn't let the pressure of the show and how much it mattered to me. It was because it mattered so much to me that I was so scared that I wasn't going to deliver. So the imposter syndrome was coming in, I think, to sabotage that, and I wasn't letting anything sabotage this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity I had between action and cut, and then having them edit it the way that they did, So it's real, and it's been in other cases that I've had it, so I've had to be like, oh, that's that doubtful bitch that's in there.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
And so I give her a name. I'm like, cálmate, güey, cálmate.
Yeah. Tranquila.
Tranquis. I understand you're giving me some survival notes. I will keep that in mind, pero no, that will not be at the forefront. Thank you so much.
Tranqui. I like that.
Tranqui.
That reminds me of Yo Perreo Sola.
Right? I can see Bad Bunny.
Tranqui. Yo, I love your vibe. I love your energy.
You.
And
Likewise.
Before I let you go,
yes,
I have these rapid fire questions.
Okay.
That we're gonna get into. Noemi Gonzalez.
Sí.
Are you ready?
Sí.
Favorite song to dance to?
Favorite song to dance to? Well, right now it's What You Know About Rolling Down in the Deep when the thing goes numb in a mental freeze. Yeah, especially because Suzette and I were bonding over that song when I went to meet her for the first time in person.
Oh, nice.
So when I came back to LA, it was on. I was like, hey! So
What You Know
right now,
About Rolling Down in the Deep. That's a good song.
But the first one I say was Voy a reír, voy a bailar.
Yeah,
That's
Mark
my
Anthony.
ringtone. Oh, La Vida es un Carnaval is number one for me. That was my first ringtone. Then Mark Anthony, Vivi la Vida. But like I'm done.
Yeah, no, that's a jam. It's a classic.
Yeah, gotta be classic.
Yeah, Celia
Timeless.
Cruz is
Obvio. O sea.
queen. Favorite song to sing to?
Ooh. Favorite song to sing to would be I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
You go in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to give us a little? No, I'm just kidding.
I was really proud, though, because, like, my cholo cousin, I sang it as a family thing at a holiday thing, and he was having me sing it. And when I was done, he was just like, bro. And it wasn't like that I was, like, amazing Whitney Houston sounding.
But you could sing.
I could sing.
Yeah.
I could sing, but it was because I've had the training, you know, and that is a song that I've sung a lot.
And the talent.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, like, I think it was the fact that he saw me in action. He saw me, the artist, that wasn't just the actress, but also a musician. And so he was just like, fuck, I got to see that in my cousin, my little cousin. And he was just like, bro, come here. I don't care that it's Whitney Houston. I will always love. Ven pa' acá. Anyway, these are supposed to be rapid fire. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. I know we talked about this earlier, so I think I know the answer already. Cumbias or mariachi?
Ay, sí. Es una cumbia, baby, para bailar. Dun, dun, dun.
Biggest celebrity crush growing up?
Ooh. Oh, Kobe Bryant. I didn't tell anyone about this because Gabe was really hurting during that time. And because we were in Mexico and we were just missing LA, like bad, like really bad. But yeah, I had a poster, I had wall newspaper clippings, y'all. That's how old I am, of like Kobe in that time of that golden era of the Lakers all over my wall. So definitely Kobe, Johnny Depp, definitely Johnny Depp. Maybe Jonathan Taylor Thomas too. I'm a spectrum, baby. Like, yeah. Shakira was also one of my first crushes, for sure. Yeah, I had a poster of her in fishnets and shorts on a motorcycle. I'm like, suerte and then la tortura.
La
I'm like, we're done. Yeah.
those are like, just like evergreen classics, evergreen songs.
Well, she's an inspo to me, a huge inspo to me, Shakira. Just a genius and such a creative and knows so many languages and subjects and whatnot. So like she's always been someone that I admire and look up to. Yeah.
Shout out to Shakira. Shout out to Shakira. What up, Shakira? Give us a call right now, 818.
Yeah, right.
You got any shout outs?
I was lit when she was drumming for the Super Bowl. I was like, yeah.
She killed her and J-Lo.
Come on now.
Shut it down.
Shattered it. They were done. Donezo. A representar.
Man.
Mic drop.
And then they had Balvin and Bad Bunny come on. I mean.
The kids, the beautiful, yeah.
Game over.
Done. You feel the love.
Favorite Spanish show of all time?
Ooh. Favorite Spanish show of all time. I mean, oh man, Spanish, as in like telenovela, as in like.
It could be anything.
Well, the first thing that comes to me is La Bamba. Like that's La Bamba and Selena are like the top things that come up for me. So those are the ones I hold on to the most.
La Bamba so I watched La Bamba. In the back of a truck. What are those things?
The pickup?
It's like the back of a truck, like a pickup truck, and they have the little thing on.
Oh yeah,
what is that called?
Case on top. Camper.
Mm-hmm. So I was in the back of a camper with family watching La Bamba.
Wow.
Eating tortas.
Oh, so yummy, so good. I love it. We have home videos of us watching La Bamba, and it's like, wow. Like, that's how deep we were into it. Yeah.
Man, a drive-in. I watched that.
The drive-in, that sounds magical.
I watched Selena at a drive-in, too.
Really? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and this Bronco movie.
Bronco. Okay.
There was the movie El Grupo Bronco. You know El Grupo Bronco?
No.
They had a movie out, and I watched that at a drive-in, too.
And where's this, in San Fernando Valley or where?
I think in Santa Fe Springs out here.
Wow, that's really cool. Those are some good memories.
Yeah. So shout out to the
Santa Fe Springs.
the camper. Shout out to Santa Fe Springs.
Those tortas, man.
Shout out to those tortas. Those tortas come in clutch.
Yeah, you remembered those tortas. That was a detail that really put it together.
Yeah. I don't remember nothing else. I don't even remember.
And then Richie.
I don't remember the plot to Broncos movie, but those tortas I remember.
Yeah, that one you do.
Speaking of, favorite Latino food dish?
Tacos.
Tacos.
Obvio, tacos.
Green or red salsa?
Green.
Best song
Both.
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 Like like remix both of.
Yeah, I do green and red, or the guacamole salsa with the red. Like I have like both.
Yeah, because sometimes you do the green and you're like, nah, I want more of a kick.
You want
you
want
throw the
sabor
red
and you
on.
want spice, so you gotta like. People said it looked like a little orchestra when I'm eating. I'm like,
Best singer of all time?
ooh, best singer of all time. I think it has to be. Oh man, that's really hard. It's between Whitney Houston and Selena for me, because Whitney having that power and range and angelic voice is obviously iconic. But Selena, when we went to Corpus for the first time with my buddy Rob Terrell, Abraham was so gracious to have us see some footage of Selena. I've always known that Selena could do any music. Like I've always felt that, known it, whatnot. But Abraham showed us never before seen footage of Selena performing at different ages and different arenas. So when I watched that, it was really hard not to cry, because we were obviously like in such a sacred space. But also like watching her was like watching a mix of like Prince and Michael Jackson, but a woman and Latina. Like it was like, oh, she would have been beyond Lady Gaga and Beyonce and Sierra put together.
Yeah.
Like so to me, like knowing the power that she had and the talent that she had, with the way that she could be an artist about anything, that's where it's like greatest singer of all time, especially for me as a Latina, like for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But both.
Both for sure.
Lastly, what's one of your nicknames
Oh.
that no one knows about?
One of my nicknames that no one knows about is probably Gnomes. Noemi Gnomes. Noemi Gnomes is number one. Love you,
No-
Liana.
Nomi Gnomes?
Hey, Gnomes.
Gnomes?
Hi, Noemi Gnomes.
Well, Nomi Gnomes,
Oh, we're friends.
I want to thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast. This is really fun. Thank you guys so much. Truly. I'm just like humbled and honored.
Same. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Noemi Gonzalez doing big things.
Hey.
Look out for everything that she's doing. Make sure you follow her on social.
Yes.
Thanks again. And thank you for watching Mando and Friends, presented by Verizon.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yep. Thank you.
No, thank you.